We're gridded up. We're nearly ready to go. Race 9, the Trading Post Perth Challenge. And Jason Bright, he's tasted a win today. Can he do it again? He's on the front row with Jamie Whincup. It's one apiece between them this weekend. And you take a look at the Fuso starting grid. And it's all Commodores at the front of the field. Jamie Whincup on pole again. Jason Bright alongside. Craig Lowndes strong again for Team Vodafone. He'll be with Garth Tander on the next row of the grid. James Courtney, of course, had dramas in the last race after some contact with Rick Kelly. No action is going to be taken over that. But if you look a bit further back in the field, you get James Courtney alongside his former teammate Stephen Johnson. Alex Davison, watch him off the start. That Irwin car has been a rocket all year. Mark Winterbottom alongside. It's just been grafting away some results. Of course, Carl Reinler's car will not take the start. Very badly damaged. There will be a gap on the grid for position number 9. Greg Murphy from 11 alongside Lee Holdsworth. And a bit further back in the pack, Shane van Gisbergen has actually been penalised 4 grid spots from qualifying and moved back in the order for slowing and causing a dangerous situation. So that's a breach of the driving conduct. He's been given a penalty and will move back a little bit further. He'll line up behind Paul Dumbrell and in front of Tim Slade as we keep rolling through the Fuso starting grid. And there is Van Gisbergen. So again, he's had the common theme this weekend. He's had to do the work to come from the middle or the tail part of the pack to get to the front. Good job from Tim Slade in the earlier race too. He managed to find some ground in the Lucky 7 Ford. James Moffat, Michael Caruso, the Fujitsu boys are scratching their heads this weekend. They just can't get the pace that they need on a consistent basis. They were fast in Hamilton, but they've really been missing this weekend. Dave Reynolds, so lucky to escape earlier on the collision. Of course, Steve Owen's car is badly damaged. And Steve, in fact, has also gone to hospital just for some precautionary checks. And running out the field, Dean Fiore and Warren Luff. So 26 cars for this 9th race of the championship.
Really have to commend the performance on the part of David Reynolds to be able to see and avoid and react to that start line incident in the earlier race today, because that was a mighty job. I don't know how he managed to do it, but he did. And he's hoping we get a nice clean start on this occasion. Interesting, when Mark Scaife and I just went for a walk through pit paddock a little earlier, you should see some of the chunks of rubber that are coming out of various parts of the car, from the inner guards and in behind the front split of the air dams that you see. I reckon we've seen chunks that be upwards of 1 to 2 kilos of rubber.
No doubt, Neil, and we saw some of the debris on the outside of the track. We call them the marbles, which is all the shredded rubber offline. Now the guys have actually swept the track, but still in the spots that we identified before, as you can pick up there on the right-hand bottom of your screen, there's still plenty of stuff on the outside of the track. This is on board with Bill Davison. We've got many in-car cameras again this weekend in Western Australia, on board with James Moffat, who's had a pretty torrid weekend so far. His speed's been pretty good, but he got caught up with this bloke yesterday, and Russell Ingall gave him a little short back and sides on the start-finish straight. Greg Murphy, Pepsi Max Commodore, a new livery, as we've already seen. And actually, I like it better with the black background, don't you? It
does look good. He had a little bit of steering damage in the last event, and we caught it in the garage being wheel aligned. Paul Dumbrell, if you didn't catch up with the news, actually had a little bit of surgery in the Easter period on his right hip. Something he's been wanting to do. He's going to do it at the end of the season, but the opportunity arose. And so the Murphy car's all wheel aligned nicely now. It had what we describe as 12 millimetres of tow out on one wheel, so it would have been turning horribly.
No, but no, one way would be all right.
Yeah, one way would be a ripper. It'd be like a rocket. It's a bit average the other direction. Speaking of a bit average, poor old James Courtney, it's been a wild weekend for him. Remember, he was leaving the pit lane in that last race. He was scrambling to get down to turn 1. Rick Kelly was doing the same, because track position's so vital. They managed to come together down there, put him out of business. Here's Mark Winterbottom. He's had to work hard for his points this weekend. That low shot in the braking area down there at turn 7. It's a beauty. It's a ripper piece of racetrack, as Mark Larkham described earlier in the telecast.
Don't forget, if you have to go out and about, you don't have to miss a thing with the V8 Supercars Championship. Catch our coverage on your Telstra and XG mobile phone. Big Pond Sport with all of the action as we get set for this final race of the weekend.
And Garth Tander, other than Alex Davison, has been the best starter this year. So he's on the second row of the grid behind Bright. We already heard from Jason that he knows the pressure to get to the first corner. So this will be a very interesting start again, and very important as the green flag comes out.
Green flag.
So this is the decider in the west. 1 to Whincup, 1 to Bright. Team Vodafone versus Team BOC. Watch for Tander, watch for Alex Davison. Away we go. Bright's got the jump. Whincup, slow away. Tanner's made a quick one, and Lowndes has been swallowed.
Ripper start, Jason Bright. He read it perfectly. His jump was beautiful. Tander really threatened Whincup on the outside at one, but he didn't quite get there despite having the pace. Courtney, good start as well. Stephen Johnson in there. Alex Davison, not a bad start either, but already a couple of critical car lengths margin for Jason Bright in this critical first lap.
And Lowndes was the loser, gone from 3rd to 6th as the normal amount of chaos happens down at turn 6 on lap 1. So there's Bright right behind him as Whincup. He's made some ground on the way out of turn 6. In behind Garth Tander, James Courtney, Steve Johnson, and down the inside goes Winterbottom on Alex Davison. And Rick Kelly will probably get down there too.
Looks wild when people come back from the wrong side of the curb down there, but Alex is badly positioned for one. Rick Kelly trying to get up the inside now. Wheel-to-wheel contact, that can be bad. We've seen evidence of that earlier today. Lots of bent steering arms, but they all pop out the other side clean.
Alex has done a good job there at turn 1 today, Crompo, because that's twice now that he's had the outside tour, and you never want to be there. One out and one wide is pretty precarious at turn 1. So we got around the outside, a little bump with Rick Kelly. Let's hope both those cars aren't damaged.
Spare a thought also for crews this weekend generally, because we've gone back to our old racing rhythm of 3 races. There's an awful lot of work that gets done in the turnaround period between races. Today's just been chaotic as everybody ticks the boxes of all the processes that have got to be done in order to get the cars back out there in good shape for another race.
And Lowndes had a drama at the start in the previous race, and I reckon the clutch drama, because as you said, you can't work on the cars enough. So if you've got a bit of a clutch problem, you've got to live with it. And that really hurt him at the start of this race also. So Craig Lowndes, the loser. Jason Bright, Whincup, Tander, Courtney, Johnson, Lowndes, Winterbottom, Alex Davison moved back. Rick Kelly in 9th, Greg Murphy in 10th. This is the jump. Very good jump for Jason Bright again. Gets straight across to the inside. There's Tander right up on the outside of Whincup. Probably the best start of the top 4 cars. And here's Courtney. And look at Lowndes' wheel spin. He just went backwards. So Courtney, a very good start. Look at this now. Tander tries to muscle in, tries to get around the outside like Alex Davison did in the previous race, but couldn't make it stick.
Tried hard, did a good job, just didn't quite get there. 56.6 was the first flying lap for Bright. We'll see whether he shifts that mark this time through. He does. 56.49, the fastest lap in the previous race with Coulthard, 56.42. So even early on, with a bit of fuel on board, the pace is a cracker at the front.
And all the guys are saying, Neil, after the first race on the soft tyre, that it's the first few laps that hurts the tyre. A lot of guys, if you were a little bit patient and didn't knock the tyre around in the early laps, then they tend to live and they tend to degrade less. So the pit lane discussion was, how do you use the tyre, get the best for the whole of the course of the strategy race, and not hurt them too much immediately.
And talking of the strategy race, remember in the earlier one, Lowndes took the earlier stop, then he had nothing left to fight with at the end. They know what to do now. They know what's going to play out.
Both these guys, Toll HRT cars, were reasonably fast, but they just fell backwards. This is on board now with James Courtney. It's a fantastic shot. Braking modulation. Watch how slow the throttle reaction is, and this, remember, this is with reasonably high grip levels still. This is into turn 4. Just watch the throttle modulation, then a little short shift. Come out of here, little short shift. This is the shift. Little short shift right there, and then off the top of the hill. Watch the brake down here, how far he brakes the car all the way into the corner. Braking, 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 braking. Still on the brake. Off the brake now. On the throttle, nice and gently.
Carries it even beyond at turn 6, what you'd describe as the apex, the point at which you cease to enter the corner and begin to exit the corner.
And watch the force on the brake here. Bang! That's the hardest brake force you'll see in this country. Any track that we go to.
I think the thing that most people who've never driven one of these cars, who get the opportunity to drive one, maybe they've come out of another category or get the unbelievable chance to do it. That really stuns them is how much delicacy is required to drive the car. Danny Green found out the hard way earlier in the weekend how gentle you've got to be on the throttle and how incredibly tactile and gentle you've got to be with the brake pedal, but at the same time use the right sort of force at the right time. It's actually a really strange combination. You cannot just stand on it. Bright is the leader. He's got a little margin. It's going to be a fascinating battle to the flag. Tander's in third, watching brief.
So lap 6, and Bright hasn't been able to skip away like we saw earlier on in the day. The HRT boys are 3rd and 4th, Tander and Courtney. Then it's Stephen Johnson, who's had Craig Lowndes parked behind the Jim Beam Ford for a while, but not fast enough to do anything about it. Here's Tony D'Alberto trying to get up the inside of Fabian Coulthard. Gives the Bundy Commodore a bit of a shove. This is the fight for 14th spot. Paul Dumbrell trying to sneak up the inside here. This is tight, not enough, not close enough. Tony D'Alberto's car is pretty much the last car left for the endurance races at Phillip Island and Bathurst that haven't quite got their co-drivers sorted out yet. There's been a few names linked, but no driver yet signed. We'll wait and see in the next few weeks what unfolds. They're on board with Paul Dumbrell, Bottle Ford. Started right in the middle of the pack. Made up 1 or 2 spots, but it's tough going. And everyone's got an eye on the end of this race and going as long as they can on this first set of tyres. They don't want to burn them up too early. Bright just starting to skip away a little bit from Whincup on this lap. That was Will Davison just up in front in the trading post Ford. He started deeper in the pack for this race, but Bright and Whincup that time through. Bright 56.93, Whincup 57.28, and the rest are in mid to high 57s in the chasing pack. On board with Dumbrell, this car run by Ford Performance Racing on behalf of team owner Rod Nash, and the car in front is an FPR supported car. D'Alberto's team switched earlier this year from being long-time Holden product users to running a Falcon. This is an ex-FPR car that still receives engineering and technical support from the Melbourne-based team. Dumbrell still searching for his first top 10 race result here at Barbagallo after nearly 8 years of competition here. But this is Johnson and Lowndes, 2 guys with great track records at Barbagallo. 5th and 6th. Mark Winterbottom just behind. Then Alex Davis, a good strong start from Greg Murphy in the Pepsi Commodore. Rick Kelly in 10th spot. Bargwanna from the podium in the last race. He's 11th. At the moment, started from position 13. And if anyone's going to play that early pit stop card, he's probably about 5 or 6 laps away from pulling that car, but it didn't work for Craig Lowndes earlier on. He still had a decent result, but not as strong as it could have otherwise been. But he's menacing the back here of Stephen Johnson. Two of the elder statesmen now, I guess you'd say, of the V8 Supercars Championship. Plenty of starts, plenty of experience. The roller coaster run down the hill from 255 kilometres an hour in 6th gear back to 2nd and 100 kilometres per hour up over the exit curb.
Please, mate. Keep pushing on. Good job.
At turn 7, Bright's margin is 1.38 seconds. He's just inching away from Jamie Whincup. Having a look back from Paul Dumbrell's Bottle Ford, he runs position 15. We're looking at Tim Slade and Tony D'Alberto in the Wilson security car, and Shane Van Gisbergen trying to lift his way out of the back of the pack. There's a mean, menacing machine. Danny Green, who had a little bit of a run in Paul Morris's car a few days ago in the Fujitsu series, and he got to here. He didn't get around the full lap, but he got to turn 6, and then he parked it backwards with the dude on board too.
Are you disappointed in his performance, Aaron? Is that what you're saying?
I would never be disappointed in a man like Danny Green.
You could sneak down and have a chat to him about it?
I'm okay. I'm good. He's a big boy.
They tell me he's a good negotiator.
Yeah, he is.
He's got 2 negotiators too.
It's a pretty healthy battle in the middle here with Tim Slade Shane Van Gisbergen and Dalberto Ingle. And right behind Ingle is Caruso and Todd Kelly. They've been exchanging spots on board now with the Enforcer. He just so easy now on the throttle. Everybody trying to conserve this tyre. So they run off the top, turn 5, and again into the braking area in the bowl at turn 6. Have a look at the lines and the different methods that the guys are using to try to keep the load off the left-hand rear tyre and to keep the momentum up. Everybody's got their own little style, little engineering way or method of achieving the best outcome with that. And on the soft tyre, absolutely crucial. We saw some of the guys with the early stop. Aaron was referring to it before. They're in lap 11. The window basically opens from 13 or 14 onwards. And we saw guys do that last race. And it really hurt them in terms of their overall consistency and general lap speed throughout the course of 50 laps.
And at this stage of a race like this, Mark, we always talk about driving the car straight, which it sounds like a simple concept, but how do you do it? Do you wait till the car's not turning when you put your foot on the throttle?
Well, exactly. The method is when you get to the exit of the corner, Aaron, you've got to have the least amount of steering wheel on, and this guy's done it very well. I made the comment in the previous race. Jason Bright from Jamie Whincup, they've been the benchmark this weekend. So you get the car turned, you make the apex, and you take all the load off the car, and you drive it off the corner as straight as you can possibly make it, meaning that the left-hand rear tyre load is minimised.
Bright's not really eking out the margin that he did in the previous race to the extent that he was. He is very, very slowly drawing away, but it's only out to 1.5 seconds after a lot of work so far. But he's got track position, he's got a cushion. Goes back to that point made earlier in the day about being able to regulate your own, to some extent, fuel burn and the way in which you work your tyres. But Whincup and Vodafone are in a much better position to annoy Team BOC in this race strategically. I'll be looking to find ways of jumping them in the pit stop strategy if they can. They've definitely smartened the car up.
Now, while that's going on, Neil, I've managed to grab Carl Reindler's race suit from that big start line incident earlier on. Now, there you are. This is a really good story. You can see there, that's actually the buckle from the net that's on the side of the car there, that's melted to him. But the really good story, these race suits are about $1,500, $2,000. They're triple layer Nomex. You can see the sewn in Nomex underwear there. Now, I've turned this thing inside out, and not one little bit of that fire or flame or burning has got through to the inside. And as you said earlier, Scafey, makes you really proud when you see shunts like that and people can get out, you know, relatively unscathed. I mean, it's a good story. That's great technology.
It certainly is, Larko. And remember that the guys have also got another layer of underwear under that you've just shown us. So there's effectively the 3 layers. And of all the years of looking at big accidents, Neil and I have already commented this is probably the most dramatic one I've ever seen, and fantastic testament to modern motorsport for those 2 guys to get out of it. So Jason Bright from Whincup, Tander, Courtney, Johnson, Lowndes, Winterbottom, Alex Davison, Greg Murphy and Rick Kelly. That's your top 10. Jason Bargwanna, who did a great job in the last race, is 11th from Lee Holdsworth, Will Davison, and then this battle that you can see with Dumbrell putting pressure on his teammate in 13th and 14th position. I like the way they put that black on the edge of the front guard there, Crompo. It makes the front of the car look wide. See, it almost looks like the tyre, doesn't it?
Yeah, the graphics changed slightly on their car, and for the better, I thought.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah. He's 14th. We're looking from the rear bumper of Will Davison's car. So they're both prepared by Ford Performance Racing, those 2 cars. So they're really tied together on performance at the moment. Notice there's been a bit of learning from race 8. Paul's going to have a look here, and he'll pull that move off. Only just. He was had it squeaking under brakes, didn't he? But the point here is that those that pitted early in the last race learnt the lesson hard about tyre degradation at the end, so I haven't exactly seen a flurry into pit lane for the second dose, so a few more people are going to keep on stretching.
No doubt, and Murphy has made ground there on Winterbottom, and after you made the comment with the wheel alignment and the steering arm drama that he had between the races, the guys did a great job to get that repaired. Barry Ryan was working feverishly in the garage when we went down there, and he's made ground. He's got good speed over Alex Davison also, and he's got a nice run on the way out of here, and this will be on down at the end of the main straight. He'll be close enough. Got to stay in the slipstream. Can't quite get it done. Lost a bit of ground up over the hill there. May have battled to get it out of third gear on the exit. Sometimes when the cars are wheel spinning there, they don't like engaging the next gear. They don't come out of gear very well. So Murphy's still pressuring Alex Davison.
It's a nice job to have started 18th and marched all the way up to 8th. Not easily done in a field of this calibre, very equal cars.
It's such a diverse range of corners. Although they look similar, they are absolutely not. The Canberra on the road coming down there, this roller coaster ride that we've seen Jason Bright leading the race and coming down the hill.
Big margin from second to third, isn't it?
It is.
In fact, the margins between second to third, then third to fourth are monster. But have a look at this. Stevie Johnson on his old teammate James Courtney. Box ticked. Nice job. Now, the other thing that happened a little further down the order is Will Davison's drifting in the field as well. So Shea Van Gisbergen got him, and so did Tim Slade. You may see him in the background here. There we are. Yep. So Will's dropped back a little in the pack. Nice advantage at the moment for Jason Bright.
David Reynolds, Stratco Commodore, 25th. Warren Luff behind the last of the 26 runners, with Russell Ingall in 20th and getting a hurry up from one of the locals, Dean Fiore, the Triple F Falcon. Dean is a Perth lad, lives here as well, but the team is based on the Gold Coast. He's going to have a lunge here, gets it done. Down at turn 6, 888 built Falcon passes 888 built Commodore, and here is Craig Lowndes now on the back of James Courtney for 5th place. Alex Davison, Murphy, Winterbottom. Then Bargwanna, Rick Kelly, Holdsworth, Van Gisbergen, Dumbrell, Slade. Will Davison's back to 16th. The FPR cars haven't looked as good today on soft tyres. They're a bit strong on hard tyres, and that's what you get when you run soft tyres. Lots of rubber, lots of debris. Look at the chunks pouring off as they crest the rise of the hill. You don't want to get out there. There's no grip to be had there.
It's a really cool shot.
Isn't it a good shot? Yeah.
Not only does it show how much debris is out there, but it gives you a really graphic sense of how much the cars are sliding over that part of the track, which from the saddle you don't sense that you're sliding the car that much there, but they clearly are.
So Lowndes now pressuring Garth Tander. This is for 5th spot. Oh, sorry, James Courtney.
And Johnson's been able to just...
He's snuck away, hasn't he?
Yeah,
good job.
And Murphy's still keeping Alex Davison honest, and Bargwanna in the background has got by his old teammate Mark Winterbottom for 9th place. So continuing a strong day in the Jana Living Commodore.
Van Gisbergen continues his march. He's after Rick Kelly now. Remember that he was penalised for impeding another car in qualifying, so he gave away grid spots as a result. Got shuffled back in the order.
Oh, Lowndes! How was that for a big slide?
Well, he's the most winning man in V8 supercar history at Barbagallo, but Craig Lowndes is on a mission. He's hunting James Courtney. 5th place is what he wants. Behind him, Alex Davison and Greg Murphy, and he's up over the curb at turn 7. And he's been a little bit loose in the last little while too.
Seen a lot of it, so he's starting to really hurt those rear tyres on the 888 car, Team Vodafone. The other guy that's reporting a lot of sliding is just in the background there. Will Davison, as Paul Dumbrell makes a move there and gets it done. He's now up to 13th. Or is he? Tim Slade fights back hard. Drops back into the spot, though, over the top of the hill. And have a go at the marbles over the top of the hill there. That's the rubber build-up on the outside. They're just huge. But Will Davison described it a moment ago as it's as though someone's hosing oil on my rear tyres.
I bet you've said stuff like that, haven't you?
Here's Slade back up the inside. So that was Paul Dumbrell sliding. Now Tim Slade grabs him back. So we're in the phase of the race now where the rears in particular have seen better days.
Here's a replay. Check Lowndes out here in the background, right behind James Courtney.
Look at this. Look.
If that was a motorcycle, you'd call it a tank slapper.
Look at the slide. How sideways is that? That's rally stuff. That's when the guys have got that little bit of yellow tape at the top of the steering wheel, they can't find the centre anymore.
D'Alberto here with Michael Caruso fighting for 18th, and Fujitsu Commodore sneaks through now. Bright's got a margin 2.8 seconds back to Whincup with 10 to third.
Guys, the penalised Shane Van Gisbergen, he's blazing. Look at those tyres are shot. Van Gisbergen's now up to 11th. He also grabbed Rick Kelly recently. So despite having been shuffled back in the order for impeding another car in qualifying, Lowndes' rears are actually gone. Like they'll have to bring him in.
He's got to get off those tyres. That's ridiculous. Look how sideways it is. He couldn't even make the corner at the bottom of the hill. This is Bargwanna going by him now. He's way back to 8th.
Look at Shane in the background. Here comes Bargwanna.
He's got to come in. It's just madness. Here we go. That is madness.
He's not the only one. Courtney in as well.
One would think.
Got a critique.
The boys are issuing style points. Nice entry there.
8.5 from the car controller.
So do they make an adjustment to the roll centre on that car?
For sure.
Yeah, one would think when you consider the amount of time that they've got to make now between now and lap 50, you want that car to calm down or you'll be in the same trouble about lap 40. Check it out. This is the replay of the arrival of one Mr. Lowndes, full sprint car style.
And with great comments from the pit. Look at this. Look how sideways it is. It's speedway action. Now, the interesting thing is there, he has jumped James Courtney in that stop.
What we're looking for here is bits of rubber. There goes one now.
It's a chunk of rubber out from
Garth Tander's car.
Pit lane's busy now. Bargwanna, Winterbottom, Rick Kelly, Paul Dumbrell all in.
But the interesting message here is they've got to lap 24. It's a 50-lap race. They're going to have to really nurse these tyres in the back end. The other thing I noticed in between was just how hot it is out there now compared to earlier on. It's really noticeable when you walk around the pit lane.
Dumbrell just had to wait for Bargwanna there. There's our lead-up. Jason Bright. Whincup is in pit lane. The margin was just over 3 seconds before the championship lead-up peeled off. Tander now moves to second. Half-race distance.
Now, Whincup actually, with that, he come in right behind Bright, about 3 seconds behind. But Bright has actually lapped a lot of those guys that we've seen in pit lane. That's how short this circuit is. Very nice stop.
It would appear as though Brad Jones Racing, Jason Bright, Team BOC, they will do what they did last time, which is they've still got pace. He's been making that margin. They'll run him as far as they can so that the next stint is as short as it can be on the tyre set. They'll try and do exactly what they did in the last race. It's going to be tighter this time.
Whincup got a massive block from David Reynolds in turn 1, and he's still stuck behind him as they crest the hill at turn 5. So that's cost him a bit on this outlap. Race leader in the pits.
Here we go. Yeah, they weren't quite as bold this time. They pulled it up a couple of laps early. They've done it on lap 25. So 2 laps earlier than race 8 for these guys at Team BOC. Oh, didn't quite get you. That was a bit eager.
But I think the normal rule is with this, is if you've got the best tyre life, the chassis balance is the best, then you can afford to be early. So, based on the Wing Cup performance, he's already, I know he's closer, but he's had better speed so far.
Where is he? Where's car 88? Where you can see car 8 on the right of screen. This is going to be line ball. I think Jamie's going to get him.
Got him. So that little balk on the front wheel, because we know Wing Cup got balked with Dave Reynolds. So the little drama in the pit stop has cost Jason Bright.
This is what you spoke about before with David Reynolds and Jamie Whincup. And Jamie ended up wide down at
Here we
one.
go.
It was actually
almost the same. That was the same as the Courtney Rick Kelly incident. And look at this. This is the drama. So very surprising that even with that drama for Jamie Whincup, the balk with David Reynolds, that he's in front of Jason Bright after the stop.
And Tander's come in as well from the lead of the race, and here he is.
Mate, they'll probably be waiting on the tyres again. It's going to be all clear.
And Van Gisbergen in as well. There he goes, just in the background. Imagine if he'd started further up the field. He's been fast this weekend.
He has been fast, hasn't he? So this race will cleanse for you very soon.
You've got to be impressed with the biomechanics of the way our guys manage those wheels and tyres. They pick up that 20-odd kilo of wheel and Dunlop tyre with one hand. They fire the gun on with the other. Look at this. Check it out. This is the margin between Tander and Lowndes. A couple of car lengths there.
Whincup is leading. Whincup ahead of you is leading.
Before the stop, we saw Lowndes and Courtney. So we said in the stop that Lowndes was able to jump Courtney. And right up now behind Garth Tander. It'll take a lap for these tyres just to normalise. If Garth can hold Craig at bay, he will then be able to get on with driving the car. Oh, it's leaking some fuel. That's leaking fuel out of the left-hand vent there as he comes down into turn 6. Or maybe out of the water bottle, but definitely fluid coming from the left-hand rear of that car under brakes.
That's Lowndes reporting fluid on the windscreen. Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
It's actually from up at the B pillar. I would say it's water.
It's water, yep.
And we've had this before with Garth, haven't we? Drink the water bottle, they told him.
Yeah.
In previous races. Just lowers the level.
You see the water companies on the cars in the stops, and they do it for a couple of reasons. One, to replenish driver drinks on occasion, but also to replenish the tanks for the water breaks.
Now everyone's pitted. Dean Fiore's the last guy to come into the lane, so Whincup goes back to the lead of the race now. 9/10 clear. Here he is of Jason Bright. Tander third, then Lowndes and Courtney, Johnson and Alex Davison, Murphy, Rick Kelly and Barguana. That's the 10.
Have a look at this left-hand front tyre. This is an extraordinary shot. Look at the curb. Bang! Over the left-hand curb. Let's just have a listen and have a look at the load on the left-hand front tyre being tortured around Barbagallo Raceway. Can't believe that shot over that curb there. It's amazing. And this is shaping up with only 0.6 of a second. Bright closing in on the back of Whincup. This is shaping up as a fantastic finish. 20 laps to go. The man who won the previous race today, who's been the benchmark on the soft tyre so far, is hunting down the series leader.
I thought that was a really interesting comment. Mark Dutton, Jamie Whincup's engineer, just said to him, front bar up, the sooner the better. What he's saying to him is your front anti-roll bar from within the cockpit you can adjust. If he makes that firmer, that's going to give the car a little bit of understeer, which is a bit of a bugger to drive with, but the sooner he does that, the easier that is on the rear tyres. So quite a smart move. He's saying, Jamie, if you can put up with it, you're better off with your rear tyres at the end of the race.
So what that does is it changes the balance of the car. It effectively gives the front more roll stiffness, and the understeer that's induced is a good thing. This is
check this out. This is when it hits the curb at 7. Look at the crush. There's just that moment right there. Look at the crush on the tyre wall at the curb, because I've been talking all weekend about the impact that the car sustains when it's fully loaded at that peak load point at turn 7. So we thought we'd go back and have a look and show it to you. And the load that's transmitted through the tyre, the rim, the suspension, all the way into the body and the cage, it's extraordinary.
It is on at Barbagallo. Whincup leads, but Bright is hunting. So 20 to go. These two are nearly 10 seconds clear of third place man Garth Tander. No change in the 10. Van Gisbergen 11th. Dumbrell 12th. Then Tim Slade. Winterbottom is back to 14th. Ingle 15th. Then Will Davison, Holdsworth, Caruso, D'Alberto, Todd Kelly. That's the 20. Then Coulthard and Webb, Fiore and Moffat, Reynolds and Warren Luff, who is still on the lead lap, but not by too much. That time around, Whincup 57.22, Bright a 56.98. The margin at the line was 4/10, but you can see it there as we ride with the championship leader, the two-time series champ and the three-time Bathurst winner, Jamie Whincup. Down at turn 6, let's have a listen to the Team Vodafone Commodore as it leads the way on the run down the hill.
Another click on the front if it can take it. Another click on the front if it can take it.
Now this is a gripping fight. Jamie Whincup has the lead at Barbagallo Raceway in race 9 of the championship. But Jason Bright, he's already had a win today and he can smell another one, and there's plenty of communication going on in these cars.
Well, Mark Dutton again said another click if it can take it, meaning go up on the front bar again if the car will take it. And the interesting thing with that is, as I said before, it's about the roll stiffness. Stiffening the front of the car is essentially like softening the back of the car. And what it does is you try to keep the momentum up and drive the car on the front wheel, take the load off the rear of the car. The drama is that it's much easier to lock an inside front wheel when the tyres lose their grip and you've got a lot of front sway bar on. The inside wheel locks very, very easily.
You're effectively tying the two front wheels together, aren't they? So as they hoik up, it pulls the inside up as well with it because it's so stiff across the front of the car. But they're trying to just shed the load, aren't they? Move it from one end a little to the other. The gap's just stabilised, but now Jason's got the fight that we described a bit earlier, where the cars have plateaued. He doesn't have track position. And as we said earlier, this is going to be a much harder task in this race than it was in the earlier race.
Look at those marbles. It's unbelievable, isn't it? You wouldn't want to get wide there, Crompo.
Look at this.
It's a great shot, isn't it?
Just amazing to see how much the cars are also sliding in that area of the track. So 15 laps to go. They've lost radio communications with Shane Van Gisbergen, whose radio is keyed open at the moment, or someone else is on their channel. So Paul Forgy, his engineer's trying to give him as much information as possible. I don't think he's getting any of it at the moment. Shane's up to 10th, not bad considering his penalty.
Well done, Warren Luff, getting out of the way then. These sorts of races sometimes can be impacted by slower cars. And Warren did a really good job to get out of turn 6, move it across on the other side of the road onto the dirty side of the track, and to allow both the leaders to pass on the clean side of the left-hand side of the road.
down here in the Team BOC garage. Brad Jones watching on very closely. Brad, Bridie has caught Jamie. What happens now?
Well, that's the interesting part, isn't it? I mean, hopefully he's going to get by him. He feels pretty comfortable. He just said on the radio, you know, he was very comfortable in the car. So we just hope that he can find a spot and squeeze by. Jamie's led a lot of races. I don't think he's going to make too many mistakes. But our car's been pretty good today. So I think, you know, we'll see what happens. But hopefully we'll get the job done.
It's been a good day so far. Let's hope it keeps rolling.
Thanks very much, Brades.
Just that rearward shot from Jamie's car, then saw Jason run a little wider than he would have liked down in the bowl at turn 6, and then you saw the corresponding slide as he tried to muscle it off the corner with the throttle. Green box initially means that's where the catching ended, and thereafter those numbers pretty much mean he's holding station. Exactly 0.3 the last time through. Check the margin on the computer this time, it's exactly 0.4. He's got a whisker of additional pace, but that's all it is. And now he's got to be careful that it doesn't step over a line into impatience, which will hurt the tyres and let Jamie off the hook because he's got track position.
And the second thing that happens is you get the heat soak from the car in front. So you start to lose some brake pedal quality. You make everything hotter in your car because you're outside the airstream, you're tucked under the back of the car in front. And sometimes, as you said, if you get a little impatient at this point of the race, the damage that you do to the tyre will affect you across the rest of this event. So that's Mark Dutton helping tune the car with Jamie Whincup, saying you can come back off from that front bar if you need to, because sometimes when you do also come up with the front bar and you stiffen the front of the car, you induce more understeer, and all you do is actually slow yourself down. You don't actually make a real speed gain. You hurt yourself on the way to the corner, induce more understeer, and slow the car down too much. So Jamie will make an educated choice, and sometimes what you do is you flick the bar up, you do a couple of corners, and you get a feel for what the car responds to, and he'll make a choice as to where he leaves the front bar setting.
While we're in something of a holding pattern at the moment, waiting to see what happens between Whincup and Bright, we've gone back and found some images out of the cars of both Steve Owen and Carl Reindler from that initial start for race 8 earlier on. It's what's described as the T division. That is what it looked like. Can you believe that?
This is Reindler now.
So the first image, of course, was Steve Owen. And the second image we showed you there was Carl Reindler's car. And this is the camera that's used. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, man. It's from Steve Owen's team VIP car. And these are the images of the cameras that are used to record driving infringements and also have data loggers attached to them. So we're able to download that from the cars just to be able to show it to you today before we went off air. We thought it was worth showing. It's pretty remarkable stuff.
Whincup leads. 12 laps left to run. Bright is hanging tough. 10 to third. Lowndes and Courtney, that's your top 5. More from Barbagallo in just a sec. Will Davison, 16th here, has not had the pace today on soft tyres, and Holdsworth and Caruso, teammates, they haven't been able to find the sort of pace that they had in Hamilton a fortnight ago. 16th, 17th and 18th at the moment. That time around, Whincup 2/10 faster than Bright, but Tander was a couple of tenths quicker than the pair of them. Here's Bargwanna and Van Gisbergen, 8th and 9th. Murphy having a good solid run, the Kiwi in 7th spot in the Pepsi Commodore, just up in front. And again, Tim Slade has moved through quite nicely. Started back about position 19, I think, from memory, and is up to 10th. Bargwanna, of course, the second car from Brad Jones Racing in terms of where they lie in the field. New sponsorship for this team in the last event in Hamilton. It's a deal for the rest of the season with Jana Living, which is construction and development company in Bugs' home of Warragul down in Victoria. But he's under pressure here from the 21-year-old, originally from New Zealand, now living on the Gold Coast, Shane Van Gisbergen. that time around up in front. Whincup and Bright, nothing between them. 58.2 each. And we're really in get-home mode now. 10 laps left to go. Some drivers fading a little bit more than others with their tyres. It's been a hectic day with 2 races and a qualifying session as well, and of course a delay from the earlier race. They've had to earn their money today, and if anything, they're just starting to zero in a little bit on Greg Murphy, just up in front. There he is. These two got together in Hamilton a couple of weeks ago. Murphy picked up a 25-point championship penalty. Their former teammates from a few years ago at the now defunct Sprint Gas Racing squad. But this is a better run for Greg Murphy. He sits in 7th. We're on the run home at Barbagallo Raceway with the Trading Post Perth Challenge. Greg Murphy here, 7th spot. Kelly Racing continuing to find a bit more speed as 2011 starts to unfold. Murphy sits 7th. Bargwanna's on his hammer in 8th. And Van Gisbergen's right with him in 9th, but this is a bit further back. Will Davison leading a pack in 15th.
That little battle that we just had a glimpse of a moment ago, Aaron's interesting one, because Van Gisbergen's just been charging through from, in recovery mode from the penalty that he got earlier. So Murphy 7, Bargwanna 8, Van Gisbergen 9. It's clearly unresolved. It's not a bad comeback from the young Kiwi.
And the old Kiwi, that's a good job from Greg Murphy too, because he is 5 spots in front of Rick Kelly. So coming from the same stable to be the lead car for Kelly Racing is a very good job.
Coulthard up on Caruso there. And Lee Holdsworth just in front. The thing that you were making the point about there, Aaron, is just you go back in the pack and you find this battle in 15th and beyond, and it's every bit as vigorous as the last lap of the World Championship. Just don't for a nanosecond think that it doesn't mean as much. In fact, often there are days where you're down there and there's nothing to show from it at all, and you work harder than ever for absolutely, well, effect, not zero, because you do get a few points, but might be something you put in your scrapbook.
Very little reward, isn't it? So Jason Bright is 0.9 of a second behind Whincup. We've basically seen that for pretty much the course of this race since the pit stop. Bright's reporting that he can't get close enough to the back of Whincup based on losing the aero grip, meaning that at the top of the hill at turn 5 and a couple of the places like turn 6 where the aero grip is quite important, it starts to lose its balance, and Van Gisbergen gets down the inside of Murphy. So Bargwanna and Van Gisbergen past Murphy now, so he's just struggling in the closing stages of this 50-lapper.
Bargwanna 7th, Van Gisbergen 8th, Murphy 9, Tim Slade 10. So potentially 2 top 10 results today for Tim Slade, the lucky 7 car.
And he's had to do more work again. He's come from 19th on the grid, so Stone Brothers Racing with 3 cars in pretty much the same part of the field. He's had to do the same as Van Gisbergen. He's had to start from further back and chip his way through, look after the tyre, and they've come on strong later in the race.
Now these 2 guys are known to be hard racers, and they're locked in combat here. And in both cockpits, it matters. So 7th and 8th. Van Gisbergen, nice exit off the last corner. It's quite close. You might think about it.
He is. Oh, Bargs knows. So he gave it a little shift across in the braking area just to try to take some of the inducement away. And the way that you do that is sort of angle the car in the braking area. The guy behind sees the body language of the car and understands that the driver in front is going to close the gap. So it's important to make that signal, and Bargwanna did that quite well, but he's going to be under siege because Van Gisbergen looks like his car speed and rear tyre quality is better.
And they've given up trying to communicate with Van Gisbergen. So they've had a radio problem, although it's been locked on his channel. The scanners have been locked on his channel, and I reckon they may have just found the problem. Well, they may be able to talk to him, but this is a fascinating battle. We'll see whether or not he can get that extra spot. He's very strong at the last corner.
He is, and this is closer, Neil.
Slade on Murphy.
Nice move.
Yes.
Nice move.
That's for 9th.
And this is a bit of a confidence rebuilder for Slade. Remember, in Hamilton, he didn't finish either of the races. But here's back to the front. Whincup leading and Bright right with him.
Now, Winterbottom's come to the pits. And there's a problem for the radio also with Jamie Whincup's got problems. So there's something weird going on out there in comms land for a couple of the competitors.
And what happens in this part of the race is the guys say to you, 5 laps to go, and you turn the heat up. And clearly Bright much closer now. The gap had gone out to about 0.9 of a second. You can see Bright using the car harder now. Who cares what the tyres are like now at the end of this 50-lapper? They'll never go back on a car again. So the guys will use every little bit of speed, every bit of yield that you can get from the tyre in the next couple of laps. And every corner makes a difference at this place when it's like this, Crompo, doesn't it? You've got to make sure you're going to run off the top of the hill, then you've got to brake the car deeply down here at the basin and don't get too wide.
He's having a crack. That was a rush then.
That was a run.
It made him slow off 6. But Bright's stepping it up a notch now.
He certainly is.
Whincup's transmitting garbled messages to his team. Mark Dutton's trying to explain to him there's 3 to go. This is the thing that you were talking about, that knowing where you're at in the countdown phase, because Whincup needs to be able to figure out how much he uses the tyres. Little mistake under brakes.
Big moment then for Whincup. That was a massive moment. It was sideways the whole way in the braking area. And the only reason you ever ask that is if you're in a bit of trouble. The only reason you report back in and say how many laps to go is if you feel like you're under siege. And certainly from both camps, this race is on. 2 laps to go. A little bit of a different line that they use down at turn 6. You can see Bright uses more exit road and he got too much oversteer. Have a look at this. Sideways. Sideways, sideways. 2 bites at it. Goes across the bump and he gathered it up. Very good bit of driving from Whincup.
Mark Dutton's saying eyes forward, and the code in that message is drive your own race car. Concentrate on your own rhythm. Don't worry about Bright. The fastest way around the track is on the proper racing line. And that's what he's sticking to at the moment. Much cleaner entry into turn 1.
Bright's getting very wide on the exits now, isn't he?
He's asking more of the car mid-corner and it isn't accepting the load. That's why it's running wide and understeering.
So from clear dominance in race 8, Jason Bright has been matched up much more evenly with Whincup. They were a class above the rest in the previous race. Whincup driving the car very, very well in this event. He's dropped off now. Ooh, just as I said that, he got 2 sideways at the last corner.
But he's only got to hang on now for 1 more lap.
What's impressive is the margin these 2 have earned over Garth Tander and Craig Lowndes. They've been the class of the field. And Bright in race 8 was driving literally around that white line at turn 1. He had the car hugging the road.
And Tander's performance is much better also. Good recovery from him. 3rd position, and his speed in the last part of this race is actually quite good. He's about half a second faster than the 2 guys in front at the moment. But a great display from Jamie Whincup.
Now they're using pitboard on the wall for Shane Van Gisbergen, given that the radio's playing up, and there's also a problem with the radio for this man. For both drivers, they're coming out of turn 6. It was all sideways action, but a great job again, Jamie Whincup.
He and Jason Bright have been the stories of Sunday here at Barbagallo Raceway. But for the championship lead-up, it's a case of 2 out of 3. Ain't too bad at all. Whincup wins and extends the lead. Great drive from Jason Bright. Team BOC have done an awesome job today. And Garth Tander flies the flag for the factory squad. He's home in 3rd on home soil. And in the background there, James Courtney and Stephen Johnson getting stuck right into it all the way to the line. Courtney got home for 5th, Johnson 6th, and Shane Van Gisbergen another good drive through to 7th.
It was a good drive right at the end there for Van Gis. to get past Bargwana, and this is on board now with Jamie Whincup. Great celebrations for all at 888 Team Vodafone. They'll know that this was a much better performance in this race versus Jason Bright. Neil made the comment straight away that it was going to be harder for Bright in this race. Whincup looked better in the early laps. And overall, across the day, the soft tyre races, first race especially today, really showed up what this does for the sport and the ability to overtake and different strategies. What hurt this race a little bit is everyone was on the same strategy in this race.
All did the same thing. They learned a lot from that last race, and it mitigated against varieties of strategies for this one. There's the margin at the end. It was officially a second, but Bright kept the pressure on all the way to the flag. And nice job for James Courtney to climb up over Stephen Johnson there in the end analysis, and also for Van Gisbergen to recover from the qualifying penalty and climb back up to 7th without the benefit of a radio.
Greg Murphy in the top 10. Alex Davison just outside. Tough day for Ford Performance Racing and for Fujitsu Racing. Tony D'Alberto rounds out the top 20. Moffat 21st. 23 cars on the lead lap, and Mark Winterbottom loses ground to Jamie Whincup. He's classified in 26th. But it was a day where the honours were shared between Jamie Whincup and Jason Bright. And 100 more championship points. He's the only multiple race winner this year, and that's number 46 now in his career. He's racking up these stats.
He'd be very happy with that drive, Aaron. Those races are very hard. Very, very hard races.
That was a drive, mate. Good drive, boy. Holy crap, we had nothing left in there.
Stop wasn't that good, and the boys are saying sorry about that stop, which is a really good reaction from the team, because you've got to be mature enough to walk up and say, mate, I'm sorry, we didn't get the best from that. Look at this big slide, the boys. They know the tyres are destroyed, Crob, but that's exactly what you do with them, just to ensure they never go back on the car again.
Yeah, there's no need to do a tread depth measurement there.
Hey, Jamie Whincup, congratulations. I guess you'll take that. 2 wins from 3 races.
Yeah, mate, that was a special one. Brighty had unbelievable pace today on those soft tyres. So for us, boys did a fantastic job in the pits, got me out in front, and there was nothing left at the end there. It was unbelievable.
Well, you've had a great weekend, Jamie Whincup. Enjoy being up on the podium. Well done.
No, thank you. Perth is a bogey trap for me for a long time, but we were all right a couple of years ago, but now it's awesome.
Good stuff, mate. Well done. Congratulations. Jason Bright, what a weekend it's been for Brighty. Mate, that was brilliant. It was a chase all the way home between you and Jamie.
Yeah, we had a good car again that race. We were a little bit unlucky. We had a wheel clip get stuck in the pit stop, but yeah, good to push Jamie. It would have been a pretty easy race for him otherwise. So and we had a good little battle there. I sort of thought we had enough pace to get past him, and then he had a little bit in reserve, I think, just that last little bit.
And Jason, it's been a great weekend for the team, especially a great day today.
Oh, it has, mate. I mean, we know they have ups and downs. Carl's crash was a big hurt for the team, and we got that first win in the same race. So it's been a sort of mixed results weekend, but the car speed's certainly there, and glad to put the last couple of rounds behind us. We had some problems there, and I think that we can go on stronger from here.
Looking forward to seeing that. Enjoy the podium, enjoy the celebration, and Garth Tander, always nice to climb the podium here in Perth.
Yeah, great to be on the podium here at home. Fantastic fight by our guys. Yesterday didn't really go to plan, and this morning not quite to plan, but this afternoon the car was fantastic, and unfortunately Jamie and Bridie got too much of a head start at the start of the race, but if the race was 10 laps longer, I reckon we would have been part of it. So great to be on the podium. Certainly hope that Steve and Carl are well, and that they're with us at Winton in a couple of weeks' time.
Good on you. Here. Well done, GT.
Cheers. Thanks, Bruce.